right, so you've given us some pretty incredible material to work with today.
Yeah.
About a time of just massive upheaval in England. We're talking the Norman Conquest,
Huge.
feudalism, even Magna Carta makes an appearance, which is
Right.
it's a lot to unpack.
It is. Yeah.
But I think we can manage. So let's dive right in.
Okay.
What was England like in 1066, right before the conquest?
Well, imagine England's kind of like this country on the edge of change. You have a new king who is about to be crowned, William the Conqueror.
Right.
But this wasn't some peaceful transition of power. William's coronation, it was met with resistance, panic even, from the Anglo-Saxons who were already there.
It sounds less like a coronation and more like an invasion, honestly.
Exactly, yeah. And those rebellions, they continued for years.
Oh, wow.
Leading to, this widespread destruction.
Yeah.
And to solidify his control, William, he employed a strategy that we see throughout history, really control the land. He granted these massive, massive tracts of land to his Norman nobles.
Yeah.
But this wasn't just generosity. It was,
Right.
Calculated.
Yeah.
It was to create this, web of loyalty and really reshape England's power structure from the ground up.
So that's where the feudal system really takes hold in England.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about feudalism here, the system that really became the backbone of medieval society.
Right.
It was all about land ownership, loyalty, obligation,
Okay.
right? At the very top, you've got the king who's granting land to lords in exchange for their loyalty, their military service. And then those lords, they grant smaller portions of land to the people who swore allegiance to them.
Right.
So we're talking vassals, knights, everyone had their role.
Everybody's got a boss.
Everyone's got a boss, exactly.
It's almost like a giant hierarchy, but instead of climbing the corporate ladder,
Right.
you're pledging these oaths of fealty and, well, probably doing a lot more sword sharpening, I'd imagine.
Yeah, a lot more physical danger in this hierarchy.
Right, exactly.
But that's it. It's all, we're talking about rituals like homage, knights literally kneeling, pledging fealty to their lord.
Wow.
And it wasn't just symbolic. This dictated every part of life, from who you fought for on the battlefield
Right.
to, believe it or not, who you could marry.
Wow.
Yeah,
Talk about pressure.
it's a lot of pressure.
And to keep track of this whole intricate web of land ownership and who owes what to whom, they commissioned the Domesday Book, right?
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
William the Conqueror, he needed to know exactly what he had at his disposal,
Right.
what resources.
Looks at
And the Domesday Book was essentially this massive inventory. It's land, livestock, even peasants were counted in this thing.
Wow.
It's this level of control that I think really highlights just how absolutely central land ownership was to power in this era.
It was everything.
It was everything.
Wow. Okay. Speaking of power, let's talk about Magna Carta. It's one of those documents that everyone learns about at some point, but what did it actually do?
Yeah, it's often hailed as this landmark charter of liberties, but I think the reality is a little more nuanced.
Okay.
By the time King John, we're talking descendant of William the Conqueror here, by the time he took the throne, the concept of kingship was already kind of shifting.
Interesting.
It was becoming less about this absolute personal power that you get just from owning land and more about, a sense of national identity.
Okay.
And John wasn't exactly the most popular guy around.
Let's just say that he wasn't exactly known for his power to the people approach.
No, not quite. Yeah. His reign, it was full of conflict. He was levying these heavy taxes on the barons, those powerful lords that we were talking about.
Yeah.
He even abused feudal customs like wardship and scutage just for his own gain.
Wow.
Yeah, so by 1215, the barons had had enough.
Right.
He revolted, and they forced John to agree to Magna Carta.
So Magna Carta was basically a way to curb the king's power.
Exactly. Yeah, and contrary to what a lot of people think, its impact on, everyday people, peasants, was pretty minimal.
All right.
Its most lasting impact was really on the very idea of kingship itself.
Okay.
For the first time, a king's power was officially limited.
Right.
Even the king, Magna Carta declared, was subject to the law.
Wow. It's fascinating to think that a document that came out of this, power struggle between a king and his nobles ended up influencing these ideas about individual rights and liberties for, centuries to come.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder, I think, that even during what seemed like these really chaotic periods in history,
Right.
really powerful ideas can emerge
Yeah.
and they can have this like ripple effect across time.
Yeah.
And I think Magna Carta's legacy is a real testament to that.
That's a great point. So much of history really is about these power shifts and how those shifts impact, well, everyone, from kings all the way down to, well, everyone else.
Absolutely.
It really makes you think.
Mm-hmm.
If you were, let's say, transported back to England in 1066,
Okay.
who would you rather be?
That's a good question.
Would you want to be the king? Would you want to be a noble? Or would you just want to try to, I don't know, keep your head down,
Yeah.
make ends meet as a peasant?
Yeah, tough choices.
Because each of those paths, they all come with their own sets of risks and rewards,
Thanks,
obviously.
for sure.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to leave it there for today.
Okay.
But it's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And until next time.
All right, take care.